Go.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Were you scared of being attacked by terrorists before 9/11? Why or why not?
No, it didn't even cross my mind.
Okay. Did you ever visit any of the locations of the 9/11 attacks? What do you remember?
No, I'd never been to the World Trade Center,
Okay.
so I didn't have any memory of it. I'd seen it, from it was a major part of the skyline, so I saw it all the time, but I never visited it.
Okay. How did you find out about the attacks? What were you doing at the time?
So I lived on 13th Street, and I lived on 12th in the East Village, and so I was walking to work, and there was tons and tons of fire trucks racing down 3rd Avenue. And I definitely kept turning around and being like, where are they going? Where are they going? And then I came out onto Union Square. I worked right on Union Square, so I was walking to work, and I walked by a building, and there was a doorman out in front of the building, and he yelled, "Oh my God, the World Trade Center was just hit by a private plane." So then I turned around and looked downtown, and you could see the smoke. So I was close enough that you could see it, in the distance, and then I just kept walking to work, and people, there was definitely an energy on the street, and I got into my office, and everybody was kind of freaking out and turning on computers trying to find out news, and we were in a pretty big building, and my boss ran up to the roof because from the roof of our building you could see all the way downtown, and she brought her camera up there. I did not go up to the roof. I was in my office. I remember my husband called me, and and I don't remember the timing of everything, but while I was talking to him on the phone, the second building was hit. And I think at that point, people realized that it wasn't a private plane, that it was a commercial jet. And then very shortly after, the Pentagon was hit. And then it was like this moment of total terror. I was super scared. I didn't really know what to do or where to go. I was a nurse at the time. And so the medical director was definitely on the phone with all the hospitals and trying to figure out how we could be of use. And at that point, my husband got on his bike from his job and came over to my work because he kind of just wanted to see me and touch base and be like, what's happening? What do we do? Because it felt really scary that both places were hit in such quick succession. And so then my husband went home. His work was called off. He went home, and then...
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Hold on 1 second. I just have to decline that. Okay. My boss had taken me and 2 other medical personnel, and we went straight to the closest hospital and came in just to see if there was anything...
Oh. Lynn, it's frozen again. Ooh. Ugh.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There were so many people already at the hospital trying to donate blood. I mean, there was a line around the hospital, people sitting there trying to donate blood. There was this kind of panic and everybody wanting to help somehow, but not knowing how they could. And the hospital was basically like, we don't need you, but definitely call back in case we do, kind of thing. And so then we left, and we divided up, and we had to go visit. I worked for an organization that had group homes with differently abled adults. And so we had to break up and go visit the different group homes to make sure that they were all okay. So I think I got 2 homes to visit, and I did that. everyone for a couple hours about what was happening, and then my boss told me just to go home to be with my family, and she obviously wanted to go home and be with her family. Hold on, I gotta get something underneath the couch for my dog. One second. Okay, so then Harold and I met together in our apartment, and we, we're watching the news. It's really overwhelming, and we at about 4:00 he got on his bike, and he's like, I'm gonna go check out what's going on. So he got on his bike and actually rode down all the way downtown, and there was no cars on the road, and he was riding against traffic. There was no traffic on the FDR, which is huge. It's like Woodward, and he was riding against traffic all the way downtown, and he went pretty close, and he was just like, this is crazy. And so then he came back and got me, and then we walked downtown. So we walked as far as you could get downtown, which I guess was about, you were still probably a mile away, but we walked pretty close, and it was there was like a smell in the air, and there was so much garbage everywhere, and the look on people's faces, and you saw so many people still walking uptown covered in ash, and it was like very apocalyptic and kind of scary, and everybody was very friendly and helping each other, and bodegas were passing out water, and people were very open. It was a very super emotional and so different to anything I'd ever experienced.
Okay.
And then, there was like police barricades, so you couldn't get beyond a certain point. And so then we eventually went home, I think when the sun was setting. And then the next morning, and then all night long we were up watching the news and hearing these horrible stories and crying, definitely, because it was so emotional. And then I couldn't sleep all night, and I woke up in the morning, and I was like, I have to do something. So I had seen on the news that they were asking for medical personnel to come down to Chelsea Piers, which they had turned into. Chelsea Piers is an enormous athletic facility that spans like 5 blocks, and they turned it into basically a morgue. And so they had lowered the temperature, and they were bringing bodies they found